And I still to this day don't really know how it is that I broke a world record or won a bronze medal. Um, I mean, I don't really remember the race. I just remember thinking, God, you're in control of this, and this is your story. This isn't my story. My name is David Prince. Hear my story. Growing up and becoming a teenager, having never been in a public school setting before, was interesting. I didn't really know where I fit in. I didn't really have a group of friends that I grew up with because I was moving around so much, and I just didn't know my place. I didn't know who I was, and I got into high school and tried to find my place, and really the only place I felt like I fit in was with the people that did drugs and were kind of rebels and rule breakers and that kind of folk. And I quickly learned that I could do what I want when I wanted, and I didn't have to necessarily pay immediate consequences. I decided one night that I needed a new vehicle. I was driving a little car and figured that I would probably do better with my drug business if I changed my vehicle. And so literally the next day I decided to stop by this little motorcycle dealership, and it was very spur of the moment. I just stopped by and went inside and talked to one of the salespeople, and they told me about their deal, 0 down and all of that stuff, and I ended up walking away owning my own motorcycle. I'd never ridden a motorcycle a day in my life. I'd never even been on one except for that day, literally. I couldn't even drive it off the lot. I had the motorcycle for 5 days before I wrecked it. I really just didn't know what I was doing and was racing one night and hit a curb, flipped a couple times, hit a median, flipped a couple times, and hit a guardrail. I was doing about 130, 140, 150 miles an hour. And I don't really remember much other than coming to on the ground, remembering that I'd been on a motorcycle, and I thought I just wrecked it, and I tried to get up, but I didn't have a leg to stand on. My foot was about 12 to 15 feet away from my body. I remember vividly thinking, this is going to be interesting. I don't know how this is all going to play out, and I don't know what's going to happen after this. But I remember my grandmother telling me that everything would be all right, that God had a plan, and that He would take me through whatever happened next. And that's kind of when I started a grief process, and losing a limb is not easy. It's not easy at all, but it is overcomable. And the support that I had from my family, the support that I had from the doctors really helped me understand that life as an amputee wasn't really any different than life as an able-bodied person. As I kind of came out of the fog of this injury and being in the hospital and having multiple surgeries and adjusting to life as an amputee, dealing with my grief, dealing with going places and being stared at as I rolled around in a wheelchair, it really changed my perception of who I was and just my identity. And I started to realize that I had a problem. I had a problem with addiction. I was addicted to the lifestyle. I was addicted to the substances and the people, the atmosphere, the feeling of being liked, being appreciated in that world. And I started to realize that my addiction problem was taking me down a pretty dangerous road. I had no idea how I was going to change. And I just started praying. My mom recognized the change in me and gave me another chance, that last chance. And I started going to school, started working, started lifting weights at the gym. And that became my outlet. Working out, physical training became my way of dealing with my addiction problem. And had a coach ask me what kind of training I did. And I explained to him all the triathlon training that I did, and he explained to me that that's not typical of an endurance athlete to be able to run as fast as I was. And he encouraged me to look into sprinting and training for sprints. And that brought me to 2009. Got a call from the new Paralympic head coach. She asked me if I wanted to come out to a track meet and run a 100-meter race. And I thought, hey, why not? There's potential prize money. Might as well just go out there and see what it's going to be like. I had not done any training. I did not know how it would end up. But I went out there and just ran. And I ended up winning the race and went to London in 2012 for the Paralympic Games. The only advice that I can give is just hold on. Just be confident that God is in control. God has not abandoned you. God has not left you. He knows what is best for you. And if taking you through an immeasurably large amount of pain and suffering and difficulty is what He uses as a tool to get your attention, to bring you into understanding of His purpose in your life, then embrace it.